evacuations out of Afghanistan. Why don't you stand right there? You're right. You should have been
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. Standing behind me, many of my House colleagues, and especially a number of members of Congress who served in Afghanistan. And the first thing we want to say to all of those men and women who served our great country is thank you for your service. And to those Americans who are still abandoned behind enemy lines, we want to let you know you are our top priority. Our number one priority here as House Republicans is to make sure every single American who has been stranded behind enemy lines is safely returned home to the United States. That should be all of our focus this week. It's really disgraceful that Speaker Pelosi this week brought us back to raise taxes on Americans here at home rather than to help come up with a strategy to rescue Americans that President Biden abandoned in Afghanistan. That's what we should be doing here. In fact, some of my colleagues have legislation to help aid and expedite the ability to get Americans back. We've been asking President Biden how many Americans were abandoned behind enemy lines. They won't even give us that basic answer. We've also asked, what is their plan to help all of our allies, the interpreters who help so many of our military stay safe during that conflict? Another question that's been asked a lot is who has an accounting of all of the American equipment and technology that are now in the hands of the Taliban to use against us? This is a terrorist organization, the Taliban, and they now have control of a country because of President Biden's failed policy. We still have an open southern border. Many of us have been down to that border. What we see is alarming. Our Border Patrol agents tell us that it's a wide open border. In fact, the drug cartels of Mexico have more control of the southern border right now than the Biden administration. We've seen people on the terrorist watch list come across our southern border and get into the United States. That's even more of a concern now that a terrorist organization doesn't just have a foothold to train terrorists to come back to the United States. They now are in control of a country in Afghanistan. If we've been talking to a lot of our allies around the world, they are disgraced by what they're seeing in the leadership here of President Biden. We've seen it on the floor of the Parliament in England, expressing disgust with this president, how he abandoned our allies. There's a lot of damage to pick up as we look at what's in front of us. But what we know right now is we want our focus, and we want President Biden's focus on rescuing every American who he left behind enemy lines, and to give us an accounting of who they are. We're going to continue to press for legislation on the House floor to confront that this week, while Speaker Pelosi is more focused on trying to raise taxes and spend trillions of dollars rather than work with us to answer these questions. Now I want to bring up one of my House colleagues, not only the leader of the Doctors Caucus, but also a veteran who served in Afghanistan, Dr. Brad Wenstrup.